I would have done differently buying my first H2. Regretfully, guys, I hate to say this, but I wouldn't have purchased it. It was not the right decision at that time in my life. You have to understand that prior to me owning this vehicle, I had never worked on a vehicle before. I had never even changed oil in a vehicle before. So over literally the last 2.5 years, I have gone from complete master noob to just about checking off every box to become a master mechanic. I mean, the H2 engine, I just thought it was Hummer engine. I had no idea. The Chevy LS 6.0 was underneath the vehicle. I'm like, what's 6.0? Wait, what? So like when I say I was like the noob of noobs, I was the noob of noobs, and here I am. I have an extremely well-running Hummer H2. I've done the fuel pump, U-joints, rebuilt. I personally rebuilt the transmission. I educated myself on the transmission, educated myself on the 6.0, doing all the water leak series, 25 plus water leaks, de-rusting, powder coating the frame, a host of electrical issues. So for me, you guys need to understand that when I make these YouTube videos that are, let's say, 10-15 minutes long, what you're seeing or hearing is literally probably 30, 40, 50 hours of work per video, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've done the headers, put in a high performance cats, exhaust, tracking down parts. Where do you find parts? So for me, the self-education that I undertook and completed is absolutely incredible. That's great. But again, that was a lot of time. Now, the good thing is for you guys, I've done all the legwork. I've literally gone through probably somewhere between 50 to 100,000 posts, probably 75,000 forum posts going back to the 1990s. I literally was looking at websites in Japanese, Korean, Middle Eastern languages, Spanish, and getting them converted to English. I literally watched every Hummer H2 video on YouTube, every review. I mean, even people in the video game world, I would look, people playing Grand Theft Auto, and they'd have a Hummer H2 and it'd be really detailed interior, and I'd say, oh wow, okay, like I'm looking at the model, trying to understand the parts. Like when I say I watched every video on YouTube, I'm not exaggerating about this vehicle. 25, did I mention that? 25 plus water leaks that I sealed. I mean, just absolute insanity. Now, with that being said, I've done the legwork for you guys. When it comes to self-education, I could pass that information along to you. Now, this is a 2005, okay? It's a great vehicle. However, what I would have done instead is I would have actually gone for a 2007 yellow H2. They're a little harder to find. However, that gap in a few years, in all likelihood, just some tweaks on how they put the vehicle together, possibly less rust, less mileage on an 07. So I would have been looking for a 2007 instead of a 2005. It's actually, when I say it's hard to track down, I'm not exaggerating. Something else I would have done too is explored Craigslist. There are some good deals to be had on Craigslist. For the amount of time that I've placed into this, again, this is one of those funny things where I'm going to be making a video on should you buy a high mileage or a low mileage Hummer H2. If you want to learn about your vehicle and run into problems, buy a high mileage Hummer H2 and you can become an expert like me. All right, actually, this is actually a 2007 door in front of me right now, and I can actually see a lot of little quality of life updates with the door. So just something as simple as a door, on these vehicles a couple years later, and the improvements, just some things I'm noticing. Bringatrailer.com, that's another option. You can purchase an extreme low mileage Hummer H2 for like 25K, like 50,000 miles. I've seen just some crazy deals. The paint's in incredible condition. It's been garage kept. Literally, your vehicle at that point, it's brand new. So that's another option. Something else to consider and think about, and this is something I learned through my research, is that these vehicles, how many people want a 20-year-old vehicle that may or may not have a negative connotation due to clown world? How many people want to work on a 20-year-old vehicle? They don't know. They're uneducated. I mean, again, I was uneducated on the vehicle as well. And when I went out and purchased the vehicle, I'll tell you guys, like, one of my decisions was I'm going to figure out this myself. One of my personal mottos is buy first, ask questions later. And I got to the point where everybody on YouTube, not everybody, but overwhelmingly 95% of the people on YouTube online, negative comments, and then like the people who own the vehicle are telling you like how much of an incredible experience it is and how much they love the vehicle. And overall the reliability factor on these vehicles is extremely high. Once you get the vehicle up to speed, the vehicle being 20 years old at this point, it throws a lot of question marks out there. There's a lot of catch-up maintenance. Maintenance schedules have been lost, forgotten. So something to keep in mind. When it comes to mileage, again, I bought this H2. It had 183K on the clock. Truth be told, I would not do that again. Now, mind you, I've educated myself. I've completed the education. Have a very good understanding of the 6.0. That's what I'm trying to understand. Trying to let you understand. I understand the engine. I've rebuilt the transmission. I've sound deadened the entire vehicle. I've installed headers. I've pulled bolts out of the block. All right, literally drilled for 14 hours to get a one bolt out of the block. So it's no joke that I've checked off all the lists. I know where to get the parts. When you want to get parts for the vehicle, JJ's Auto Wrecking on eBay. There's Florida, Butler's Auto Recycling in Florida. They're really good. I actually just recently found a couple guys on Facebook. Prices are good on Facebook. And I actually bought a new exhaust. I'm going back to the stock exhaust. I found the carbon fiber pieces that I was missing and a couple other pieces that I was looking for. So I'll let you guys know how buying off Facebook works. I had no idea that, mind you, I owned the vehicle for 2.5 years. I had no idea that Facebook groups for this vehicle existed. Literally, people talk about what part do you need, send them a message, and then they reach out to you and say, hey, yeah, it's $115. Pay me via Zelle, and I'll ship it out. So just something to keep in mind. Now, I really wanted a sunroof. My vehicle doesn't have a sunroof. So something as simple as, if you want a sunroof, making sure it has a sunroof. I can get the conversion done, and I'll likely get that done at some point. But again, is it a big bummer for me? I guess kind of not, because the sunroof just adds more water leaks. I've had enough water leaks. So, but again, I think it'd be cool. I've always wanted a sunroof in a vehicle. I've never had one before. Looking at it in person, again, checking it out in person is typically always a good thing to do. If it looks like a duck, probably is a duck. So if it looks incredible, it is incredible. It looks in really bad shape, then all likelihood it is in bad shape. So something to keep in mind. Let me take a look at my notes, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll get you guys on your way. PPI, pre-purchase inspection. So what that is you would go out to, you'd find a local place. Like, for example, there's a Hummer H2 in Colorado. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania right now. What I would do is spend, let's say it's $100 or $150, and a mechanic would either come out in person, inspect the vehicle, the tie rods, the brake line. You'd ask them questions, or what you're interested in. Are there any paint chips on the vehicle? You could see, I got to get this fixed. It wasn't like that when I bought it, which is a real bummer. Cracks in the windshield. Is there any vandalism? How does the transmission feel? They'll take the vehicle for a drive. Spending $100, $150 on that pre-purchase inspection may save you a massive headache, or possibly $4,000 or $5,000. Now, all these things, they add up, and there are lessons that I've had to learn myself. And truth be told, one of my other theories or in life is you have to pay money to learn lessons. For me, I overpaid for probably some parts on this vehicle. Uh, you know, that's part of learning. For me, I actually almost view it as somewhat of a blessing, all the issues that I've had on this H2. If you're looking for somebody on YouTube that has a Hummer H2, has owned the vehicle for multiple years, someone who actually drives the vehicle as a daily, I don't use this as a garage queen. I'll take it out Monday through Sunday, any weather. I'll go any place. I've driven the vehicle, 13 hours straight. I've taken the vehicle from Pittsburgh all the way to Vermont. I've gone down to Snowshoe. I've actually would like to go up to Canada for some wicked snowboard trips, but I'm your guy. I've rebuilt my LS 6.0 engine, rebuilt my transmission, fuel pump, U-joints. Everything on this vehicle outside of the brake line I have done myself. So as far as I know, I'm one of probably only a few people. As far as I know, I'm the only dude on YouTube doing this, putting out this information. So that's it, guys. Good luck in your Hummer search.